Hi students, how are you? We are come back today. In the last lesson we study about the circle, and today we study about the congruent segments and angles. In the last lesson we studied the circle and we learned to about the chord, diameter, radius and center point, and today we study about the congruent segments and congruent angles. If we look, for example, there we have line segments AB and line segments CD. How do you know two line segments are congruent? The line segments that have the same length are said to be congruent. If we have two line segments have both of them have the same length, said we have two lines are congruent. And we have this symbol, it means congruent, student. This symbol we have, it means congruent. Okay, if we look there, we have AB, line segment AB. You can use a protractor or you can use a ruler, students. There we have we use a ruler. If you look, start from 5 to 6 equal to 1 unit, and because we have half, it means 1.5 centimeters. Line segment AB equal to 1.5 centimeters. After that we have line segment CD. If you look, we have half and we have 1. Also line segment CD, the length of line segment CD equal to 1.5 centimeters long. So we can see line segments AB and line segment CD are congruent, and you can write it by this shape. Line segment AB congruent to line segment CD, student. And I want to show you this lines. We have 3 lines there. We have, for example, line segments PQ, RS and UT. For example, this line is a ruler, students. I make this line segments equal to 2 centimeters, and I want to show you we have 2 centimeters long. TU equal to 2 centimeters long, and PQ also equal to 2 centimeters long. So PQ and UT are congruent, or PT congruent to PQ congruent to TU, and congruent to RS. No, because we have RS is longer than 2 centimeters, so just P and Q and UT are congruent, but is not congruent to RS. PQ is not congruent to RS, and UT is not congruent to RS. And I want to say, however, you can use a compass. There we use a ruler, and you can use a compass and straight edge to construct congruent line segment, student. For example, trace EF. We have trace EF by using a compass. We have a compass, and you can use a compass. Okay, after you have a line segment, I show you a line segment EF. I tell you, students, write down another line segment but congruent to line segments EF. You need to use a compass. For example, you have EF, and you can construct another line segment but longer than. After that, don't change the compass, move to another long line segment and identify this point. For example, I write it HM. There's write down HM. You can say CD, AB. All of them are right. And so you can say line segment EF congruent to line segment HM because have the same length by using the compass. Also, you can use a protractor, compass or ruler. And now I want to show you a video about how can you use a compass or ruler.
In this video, to use a compass and straight edge to copy line segment AB. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to use a straight edge to construct a reference line such that the reference line is definitely longer than line segment AB. And it's fairly obvious that this line that we've built right here, or this ray that we've built, is longer than line segment AB. So we can, at this step, just label this endpoint. We'll call it point C. So now what we want to do next is we're going to set our compass on the endpoint A. And we're going to extend the length of the compass so that the pencil end reaches point B. And now at this stage we've set the length of the compass equal to the length of line segment AB. And to verify, we're going to sketch an arc, and we could observe that this arc intersects point B. So now what we're going to do next, we're going to set the fixed end of the compass on point C, and we're going to sketch an arc until this arc intersects our reference line. And now what we could do is we're going to label this intersection point. We'll call it point D. And now since the length of the compass was set to be equal to the length of line segment AB, we can conclude that line segment AB is congruent to line segment CD. And just to verify, because you would not be able to do this on paper, we could click and drag the original line segment and note that these two line segments line up directly. So you notice how line segment AB rests completely on top of line segment CD. Therefore, that's another way we could verify that this construction did work. Okay, well, this is going to conclude this copying a line segment construction. Thank you all for watching, and I hope that this video was helpful.
And now we have congruent angle student. Like line segments can be congruent to angles are congruent if they have the same measure in degrees. For example, we have the angle ABD. We have 28 degrees in the measure line segment, angle ABD, and angle DBC also equal to 28 degrees. So angle BD and angle DBC are congruent because have the same angles, students. And you can use a protractor and you can use a compass also, student. And now we have an example to see, say, trace angle B, then construct an angle congruent to angle B. If we have this angle is angle B, how can we make another angle and but congruent to angle B? The first time, draw a circle, draw a ray with the end point, and I write it M. There's write down M. You can say write down by your name or any points. And another, after that, play the compass point on B, and the draw and throw B, angle B, label the point of the intersecting AC. Use the compass to draw a label the points of AC. I write it AC. After that we have M, and with this draw we can use by this point make another label for the, I write it for point P, and draw, use a compass also, measure the distance between A and C by the same length of this label. After that we make a line, look here, another, after that we make another ray. I write it MR. I write it this point R, for example. So if we look, we have angle RMP congruent to angle ABC. I want to show you a video how can use a compass and how can use a protractor, students. I use a protractor also. You can.
In today's video, we're going to construct an angle that is congruent to the given angle below. This angle below is called angle ABC, where B is the vertex. First thing we're going to do is call up our compass tool, and with the compass tool we're going to set up an arbitrary radius, and then we're going to place the pointy end on the vertex B, and then we're going to draw an arc, paying attention to where the arc actually crosses these two rays. And we're going to name these two intersections. First intersection, let's go ahead and call this D, and the bottom one here, let's call it E. Next thing we're going to do is to create a new ray. So I'm going to draw a ray, and I'm going to name this ray as well. Call this ray U, and the end that extends on forever, we'll call that V. Then we're going to reuse this compass tool, placing the pointy end over point U, and then draw another arc, again looking at that intersection. Once we have that intersection in place, we're going to go ahead and name that intersection, and here I'm going to name it Y. Next thing I do is I'm going to place this compass back on the original angle here at the intersection D, and once I'm at intersection D, what I want to do is to change the radius of this compass, where now it's going to be the distance from point or intersection D to intersection E. Again, I want to get it as close as possible, because if I'm off by a little bit, we're going to start seeing that I'm not going to be as accurate. But again, working by hand, I would say anything between plus or minus 2 degrees, that should be good enough. All right, once I have that radius from DE, again I want to place the pointy end on intersection Y, and then I want to create another arc. This arc is going to intersect the first arc that I put on my construct. Alright, now that I have that in place, I want to name that intersection, and let's call that intersection there, let's call it W. And now what I need to do is now draw a ray that's going to go from point U through the intersection here at W. Alright, we're finished with our our compass tool, so we can go ahead and put that away. And now let's draw that ray going from U through W, and that there looks like that should be good. And now let's go ahead and get rid of some of these extra arcs, so we can more easily see what's going on here with our construct. Alright, now let's call up the protractor tool. Let's do some measuring of angles. So let's begin by placing the protractor, the line on the protractor on vertex B, making sure we line up the ray here beginning at 0. So BC is beginning at 0. And now let's see what this angle measures. And we see this angle is acute, and it measures approximately about 35 degrees here. So let's go ahead and mark that at 35 degrees. So we're looking for our construct here. I said plus or minus 2, so we'll say anywhere between the high at the most 37 and at the least 33 for us to say that what we've done here is accurate in this tutorial. Again, we're going to line up 0 degrees on ray UV, and we're going to look to measure this acute angle, and we see that it's just past 35. I'm going to go ahead and call it 36 degrees. So we're in our little margin of error, so we'll consider this to be a success. Alright, so that concludes this video here by Spell Tutorial.
Okay, after we looked at the video and we know how can you use a compass or use a protractor, which one you want, you can use compass or protractor, student. Now I want to solve some practices. Sorry student, at page 183, open page 183, look at there. You can use a ruler or you can use a compass. Because I haven't a whiteboard, I show you the length. I solved this, but I tell you the answer. Look, you can use a ruler or compass. If you look, we have line segments HJ and FG or KL are, which one are congruent, student? If you look, FG and KL have the same length. By A you can see, so line segments FG and KL are congruent, student. In practice 4 we have line segments PQ and TU and RS, which one are congruent? If you looked, you can use a ruler or compass. Line segments PQ and line segments RS are congruent. And question 5 till 7 say, find the measure of each angle using the protractor, then tell whether the angles in each pair are congruent, right, yes or no. Student, please use a protractor there. If you look there, we have 90 because we have right angle, and after we use a protractor we show this is the measure of degrees equal to 50 degrees. So 90 degrees and 50 degrees are congruent? No, because this one is right and this is less than or acute are not congruent, so we write it no. Question 6, 115 and 131 are congruent. This measure is 115 degrees and another angle equal to 131 degrees, so theirs are not congruent. And question 7 say we have 45 degrees in this angle, another angle we have 50, this angle is 50 degrees, so theirs also are not congruent. And now we have question 8, use a compass, side with 2 line segments in each group are congruent. Have the same question in question 3, 4. This line segments CD, line segments CD and line segments AB and line segments EF, which one are congruent? If you look, we have AB and EF are congruent by using the ruler, or you can use a compass. And there we have line segments WX, line segments UV and line segments YZ, which one are congruent? If you look, we have line segments UV and line segments YZ are congruent, student. And now we solve question 10. Question 10, we have another angle. We have 2 angles. The first time we need to show the measures, after that identify are congruent or not. If congruent, you will write this yes. Is not congruent, write it no. We have this angle with 52 degrees, another angle is also 52 degrees. After I use a compass protractor, I know this measure equal to 52 also, so there are angles are congruent, I write it yes. In another we have 140 degrees, in this angle we have 135 degrees, so are not congruent, I write no. There we have 45 degrees in this angle, also in this angle we have 35 degrees, so I write it yes, there are congruent angles. And in this example I have a line segment. I want to tell you how can make another line segment with this angle are congruent by using a compass, students. You can use a compass to make another, and you can name the line segments. I name it KL. In this examples 15 and 14, 17 and 18, you can solve it. And this example say we have an angle, you need to make another angle with the same measure degrees, students. I think that's enough for this lesson. I want to you can understand. Please watch the video. I want to see you again, students. Goodbye. I hope to see you. Goodbye in this lesson. That's enough.